All right, so we're moving into lesson 7. This is the last lesson of chapter 8. Okay, this is all about solving one-step inequalities. This is just like solving one-step equations. Okay, so what you're doing here is they're just going to give you an inequality like x plus 4 is less than 5. Okay, just like an equation, you just solve it by doing the opposite of what's there. It's just like equations, but now we don't have an equal sign. We got inequalities. So in the real world link, okay, it says the graph shows the number of home runs that the top hitters on the baseball team hit last season. So we got Josh, Mark, Nate, and James. So number 1, it says write an inequality that compares the number of home runs Nate hit to the number of home runs Josh hit. So how many did Nate hit? 15. How many did Josh hit? 12. So 15 is greater than 12. That is still true. That's a true statement. Okay, number 2, write an inequality that compares the number of home runs James hit to the number of home runs Mark hit. So how many did James hit? 19. And how many did Mark hit? 23. So suppose James and Mark each hit 3 more home runs. Write a new inequality that compares the number of home runs James and Mark hit. So if both of them hit, so what would James have? 22. And then how many would Mark have? 26. So even though we added 3 to it, to both sides, it still remains true. 22 is still less than 26. Okay, so once you have that, go ahead and go on to the next page. All right, so the first part, we are going to talk about using the addition and subtraction properties to solve inequalities. So that just means you do the opposite to both sides. So if it's subtraction, we would add to each side. If there's addition in there, then we would subtract from each side. So it's just like equations. All right, so now we have x plus 7 is greater than or equal to 10. So rather than have an equal sign, the only difference now is this inequality symbol. That's it. So we want to get x by itself. We have to get rid of this 7. So what do we have to do? What do we do to get rid of that 7? Subtract. If it's addition, we subtract. You always do the opposite. And remember, whatever you do to the left side, you have to do to the right side. So that's gone. You're left with just x is greater than or equal to, what's 10 minus 7? 3. There's your inequality. That's all they want you to do. You're just solving a one-step inequality, just like a one-step equation. You always do the opposite of what's there. If it's addition, we subtract. Then they're going to ask you just to graph this like we did on Monday. So we go to a number line. Okay, we graph this. Now, remember, when it's like this, is this going to be a circle or a dot? That is a dot because it can equal that number. Okay, so if it's greater than, do we go left or right? To the right. So that's it. That's just the only thing you got to do is solve it and then graph it. So you're just solving it out, just like we did with equations, but then you got to take it one step further by graphing. All right, and the next one, x minus 3 is less than 9. So how do we get rid of this 3 so we have x by itself? Add 3 to each side. Now we add it. So that cancels. You're left with x. We just keep the inequality symbol, less than, and then 9 plus 3, 12. So there's the inequality. And then you just graph it. So if it's this symbol, is it a circle or a dot? Circle, because it doesn't equal 12. And then since it's less than, left or right? Left. That's it. So let's go to page 639 when you get all this. 639. All right, so number 1. we have 2 plus y is less than or equal to 3. So we're trying to get y by itself. We want to get y completely by itself over here. So what do we do to that 2? Subtract 2. So we're going to subtract 2 now. So that cancels. You're left with just y less than or equal to, what's 3 minus 2? 1. Okay, so now we have our inequality. Now we can graph it. Okay, so since the number is 1 down here, I'm going to go to our 1 on the number line. Is it circle or dot? It is a dot because it can equal 1. And then are we going left or right? To the left. That's it. Okay, you simplify it all the way out, and then you graph it every time. Okay, next one. W minus 1 is less than 4. How do we get rid of this 1? Add it to each side. So you get W is less than 5. So there's that. Now we graph, even though I didn't leave us enough room. Is it going to be a circle or a dot? It is a circle because it doesn't equal 5. And then which way? Left or right? To the left. Okay, so that is how you graph them. So you solve it out, then graph every time. So go back to page 636, and I want you guys to do A and B. So just A and B. So solve it and then graph it. I'll give you a couple minutes. So letter A, we have n plus 2 is less than or equal to 5. So n plus 2 less than or equal to 5. What do we have to do here to get n by itself? Hunter? Subtract 2 from each side. So we get n is less than or equal to 3. Okay, so now we go to our graph. Okay, circle or dot? It is a dot because it can equal 3. Okay, so 3 is included. Now do we go left or right? To the left. Okay, letter B. Y minus 3 is greater than 9. So what do we have to do with this 3 to get y by itself? Add it to each side. So we get y is greater than 12. Okay, now on this one, circle or dot? This is a circle because it doesn't equal 12. Left or right? To the right. And that's it. Any questions on those? So it's just one step, either adding or subtracting on this case. Now the next part of this is now we're going to do multiplication and division. So you still just do the opposite of what's there. So number 3, 5x less than or equal to 45. What operation is this right here? Multiplication. So what's the opposite? So we are going to divide by the coefficient, which is 5. That number in front of the variable. So that's gone. You get x is less than or equal to 9. So there's the inequality, and then you graph it. This would be a dot because it can equal 9, and it goes to the left. All right, and then number 4, x divided by 8 is greater than 3. So if this is division, what's the opposite? Multiplication. So we multiply this 8 on each side. So that cancels. You're left with x is greater than 24. Now this one is a circle because it doesn't equal 24, and it's greater than, so it goes to the right. Okay, so that's the only difference now is we're doing multiplication and division. So back to page 639 again. Okay, number 3, 7x is greater than 56. So how do we get rid of the 7 and get x by itself, Destiny? Divide by 7 on each side. So x is greater than 8. So then we just fill in our number line. All right, now, is it going to be a circle or a dot? It is a circle because it doesn't equal 8. And then are we going left or right? To the right because it's greater than. Just like that. All right, and number 4, d divided by 3 is less than or equal to 2. So how do we get rid of this 3? Multiply it. So this is division, so we multiply. So that's gone. You get left with d is less than or equal to 6. And then we just go to our number line now. Okay, is this one going to be a circle or a dot? That is a dot because it can equal 6 as well. And left or right? To the left. Okay, any questions on those two? That's just multiplication or division. All right, back to page 637, and I want you guys to do C and D now. So same thing, you need to solve them out and then graph them. So letter C, 10x is less than 80. Okay, what do we have to do here to solve for x? Divide by 10. So we get x is less than 8. Okay, so there's your inequality. So circle or dot? Circle, because it doesn't equal 8. And then left or right? To the left. All right, and letter D, x divided by 6 is greater than or equal to 7. So what do we got to do now? What? Well, this is division, so what's the opposite? Multiplication. Okay, so that cancels. You get x is less or greater than or equal to 42. Okay, circle or dot? Dot, because it can equal 42, and then left or right? To the right. Remember, you only put a circle if it doesn't have the equal part, greater than or equal. Okay, it's got to have that line down there to put the dot, because otherwise it does not equal that number. Okay, any questions on that part? All right, one last thing I want to show you is on the next page, example number 5. What they're going to do now is they're going to give you a real-world example, and they want you to write it and then solve it. You don't have to graph it now. They want you to write it out. So you're going to write the inequality and then solve it. So in this one, Laverne is making making bags of party favors for each of the 7 friends attending her birthday party. So she's making 7 of them. Right? She does not want to spend more than $42 on the party favors. Okay, so what do we not know here? What do we not know? Exactly. We don't know how much each bag that she's going to give to her friends is going to cost. But we know she's giving out how many? How many is she going to make? 7. So to figure out your price, you would do 7 times the amount of or the money that costs for the bags, but we don't know it. Okay, can she go over $42? No, but can she spend $42? Yes. So it would be less than or equal to 42. So that's written out. Now we just solve it. So what do we do to solve for C? Divide by 7. So C is less than or equal to 6. So this means the most she can spend is $6 on each bag. That's what they're looking for. So let's go down here, and we're going to do number 4. So Tino's Pizza charges $9 for a cheese pizza. So I'm going to underline that. So we know the pizza joint charges $9 for a pizza. Okay, Eileen has $45 to buy pizza for the Spanish Club. So they want us to write and solve an inequality to find the maximum number of pizzas that Eileen can buy. So what do we not know here? There's a bunch going on there. What do we not know? The amount of pizzas she's going to buy. We don't know how many she's going to actually buy. So I'm going to set P to equal pizzas. Okay. So do we know the price per pizza? How much? $9. So you would do $9 times how many pizzas she's buying. We don't know. Okay. Now she only has $45. Can she spend more than that? No. Can she spend $20 or $45? Yes. Less than or equal to $45. Okay, so now we've written it out. Now all we got to do is solve it. So what do we got to do to solve? Divide by 9. So how many pizzas can she buy? The maximum amount. So the max is 5 pizzas. So that's the most she can buy. Okay, any questions on any of this? All right, so your homework today, which you're going to have plenty of time to work on it, is 6AA4. Okay, if you get done, I would suggest working on missing assignments, not just in math, because the fourth quarter is coming to an end quickly. So do AA4 first, then work on missing assignments.